Alright, I just wanted to show you the cabinet finished, and I don't think it came out too bad. I kind of like it. As you can see right there, I'll try to get a shot. I don't know how the light is, how the lighting is, but that's semi-gloss on the front of it. I had actually started painting it with semi-gloss, which I wanted to do. Went and grabbed a couple cans. I had a little bit in an old can. Started it, wanted to do it in semi-gloss. Ended up grabbing a couple cans of gloss by mistake. Got it mostly painted, and then ended up realizing what I had done, so finished it up. The front of it was semi-gloss. But what I wanted to do was actually, what I had done some furniture before was I took some 80 grit sandpaper, and you go as if you go a long ways, just run it whatever direction that you want to put your grain, wood grain. You do the 80 grit and let it put a couple of deep, a little bit of deep, you don't want to go overboard, but a little bit of deep scratches in it. And then you go, like on the side, you would go down as if it was wood grain. So, and you go from, you start from end to end, and you continue on. You don't want to start in the middle and then start, you don't want to go like half and then go ahead and start over here, because you'll see the spot where you started, where you ended and started in the middle. So you want to start from one end and go all the way off the other. And then you have to watch how you go off your edges. It takes a little bit of practice, but I had done it before, so you don't scrape your edges down and stuff. But and then what you do is you paint it. Then you come back after you paint it with the semi-gloss, of course, and then you just take a light scrub pad. And one of the things that I did on some other furniture is I just lightly ran the scrub pad as if it was kind of like a wood grain. But anyway, you can, there are probably a million different things that you can do different ways. But if you just wanted to do, just wanted to paint it with satin, that would be fine too. And I was just kind of experimenting with some stuff to try to make it look like it was actual wood grain. But as you can see right here, this is the inside. I don't have the old stereo in it or the new, and I don't have the bracket for holding the lid. For some reason they were broken or didn't work. And you can see over here is where the turntable went. Thinking about putting the old stereo back in it, even though it worked, but it needed some repair. This is kind of dusty and everything. But I do have a tube stereo that I wanted to put in there. But I don't think the speakers, once I got this tube stereo done, had that repaired, I don't think the speakers on that one, on this, are as large as I want them to be. But I really like the way it looks, so I'm debating on whether just to put my stereo in there and just to live with it, or go ahead and maybe put the old stereo that originally came with it and putting it on Craigslist. But there it is. Anyway, I hope it inspires somebody else. If you remember, there were some pretty big, not a lot of damage, some pretty big areas of damage. I'd even, corners, there were whole edges up under in here. When you, those edges right in there. Some of this is, and then, like an edge right along in here, it was all broken off. And, all that had to be squared off. And you'll get your, if you do this kind of stuff over a period of time, you'll figure out the tools that you want to use. I like to use the long razor blades. Those work good. You kind of get them dull, and then you can use them to scrape with. You can use them to, put like square off edges in Bondo. But basically, this has been done with a little bit of auto Bondo and spot putty and some Elmer's glue. And if you've seen the other videos, you'll know, a little bit of what I did. But I hope it inspires somebody else. As you can see, it came out pretty good. The one thing you want to make sure is when you paint with that kind of paint, and let me see, this is the, let me show you the kind of paint I used. It was actually the Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2x Ultra Cover paint and primer, so you don't have to prime. And of course, this is gloss. It was supposed to be semi-gloss. Semi-gloss will hide a lot of defects in that, so it didn't really come out exactly the way I wanted. But after a while, it'll settle into, you know, I just kind of wanted it to be a little dull. Also, this is bonds to plastic. The one thing you want to do when you use this paint is definitely let it sit outside for a good 2 weeks minimum after you're done painting, because if you take it inside, and I had done it before on a desk, it will smell for at least 2 weeks, and it's strong enough that if you're near it for any length of time, it'll start burning your nose, especially, you know, you go indoors and it's dry and you know, it's air conditioned and dry. It really gives off a lot of you know, chemicals for the first 2 weeks, but after that, no problem. You know, you might even give it 3 weeks, especially out in the summer. You know, let it just outgas or whatever it does. But anyway, that's it, and I hope it inspires somebody else. You know, it's a good project for when you want to, you know, get distracted and, you know, do something else. You know, go out in the garage or whatever. And now I have a pretty cool looking old stereo console to put in the house. Okay, thanks for looking.